Germany's leading media development organization. 5 minutes for a media topic on these days. Please come a little bit closer so you can follow. You can continue your lunch later after this 5 minutes. 5 minutes for debate is a short talk format which addresses key issues of media development in a globalized world. Live on all web, all times during lunch and coffee breaks at Global Media Forum. I'm Patrick Leusch, and these are my guests now. Simon Derry, Regional Director for Central Asia, Caucasus, Europe, Latin America and the Middle East at the BBC World Service Trust. Welcome, Simon. And Michael Tecklenburg, Coordinator for Northern Africa with the Africa team of Deutsche Welle Academy. The topic now for the next 5 minutes is the Arab Spring and the role of media in it. So, Simon, in your perspective, when you look a little bit back some months, where the revolutions in Tunisia and Egypt, were there's really Facebook, Twitter and new media revolutions?
That's a big question to answer in a very short amount of time.
We are here to answer the big questions.
I mean, I think they played a part in it, but as we know, over many years, the position economically and in terms of sustainability of how the countries in the region were working was not a sustainable one, and therefore I think the new media, if you like, were just following a trend that was already there. So they were a new way of expressing that the government couldn't actually control.
So they were not at the beginning, but maybe a fuel for it.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of people who were working towards reform within those countries, obviously, and this was just a new mechanism for enabling that to happen.
I know that you have been for fact-finding missions and operations in Egypt. Michael, you have been in Tunisia several times. Do you agree? A part of it is really due to the new and social media, also in Tunisia, fueling processes that are really ongoing?
I think more or less, yes. But I think also that the situation in Tunis is different from the situation in Cairo, where you have been. My experience is that, of course, Twitter and the other social media had been very helpful just to come together and to communicate. But of course, the new social medias, they are not the reason for this revolution, or however you would like to call it.
And moreover, my impression was that everybody knew about the situation in these countries and even other countries like Syria, Saudi Arabia and others. So there wasn't hidden topics. Everybody knew about the problems. So why is this needed that even then new media come up to bring another impetus on it?
I would say that if you're trying to create open societies, what Twitter and Facebook and other applications and new media in general, including obviously mobile phones and 3G, is that technology is moving at such a pace that I think authoritarian governments everywhere have to beware. Because I think media freedom is at the heart of what I think we all believe in here, and we believe that countries should have a free and open media. I think this, because we believe in those things, those technologies have developed and flourished in our countries, and then they're just being used in other places for the same ends.
So for these countries, these new media are quite new experiences, and there's a whole generation growing up using this media. They have never not been traditional journalists in the old system before. So that seems to me that a real clash between cultures, but also between generations when you look at traditional media and new media.
I don't know. I don't think so. That is a really clash. First of all, the problem of the traditional media is that they lost their credibility, and they didn't take their responsibility as they should do. And this lack of credibility now, all the journalists, not even the young, also the elder one, they're getting. They know now what are their lacks, and they are working on so to get back, or they are fighting for their credibility. And there's no difference between the state-run stations or the private one.
Mm. What is the biggest need in short terms, very short terms? What is the biggest need of support for media in these countries, in your eyes, at the moment?
A number of different things. I mean, I think the regulatory environment needs to be sorted out. There needs to be licenses issued for new stations. There needs to be guidelines on what those stations should cover. There should be an understanding of what an open media means, and of course there should be support to development and training of people who want to participate in that media. And that's not only professional journalists, as you alluded to, Patrick. I think it's to citizen journalists as well, because I think everyone who wants to contribute to blogs or to anything on in the citizen journalism area on the internet, if you like, need some reference points about how they should operate ethically.
Do you think that we will see in Tunisia, for instance, from the beginning of free media, another balance between new media and old media because of the special situation?
More or less, yeah, there's a certain balance. But I think the most important is, I heard from a lot of journalists I was speaking to in the last years, in the last weeks, this is that they told me they don't want to become only the fourth estate of the democracy, but the fourth pillar of democracy.
Okay. Exciting perspectives. You will follow it for your organization, media support organization, World Service Trust of the BBC. Simon Derry, thank you very much for being with us. The same for Deutsche Welle Academy. Michael, you are on your feet to the next travel to Tunisia, end of this week, so far I understood. Nigeria. This was 5 minutes for debate hosted by Deutsche Welle Academy. Thank you very much for following. Don't miss the next issue in 45 minutes. Then we will have guests from Zimbabwe and from Columbia University, and we will discuss campaigning versus journalism in times of globalization. Thank you very much for being with us.